All right, welcome back to Onebar and Lupagus show. I'm Onebar with Lupagus. Free agency, still in full swing because there's a lot of good names out there and a lot of options for the Vikings who do still have some money to spend. We're going to talk about six guys the Vikings could still look to sign and make this team better. Before we do that, make us better. Hit that sub. Let's get to 15,000 subs before draft day. If you're watching, not subbed, do it, please. Let's go.
Yeah, and we're really in just the last gasps of free agency. I know we're only like a week into it, but really, things really die down after that first week. So, but there's still a lot of very good names out there to be had, and it could help this Vikings team. So let's talk about them.
Let's do it. The Vikings has easily been one of the most active teams, one of the most improved teams on paper. We got to see it on the field, but they have been doing their work and they've been spending their money very wisely. But let's go to the guy right out of the gate. The guy over there, Tyler Lockett, wide receiver. We just signed Rondale Moore, who is a very nice little piece, electric, as they say. Lockett, 32 years old, still a very good player. Man, to plop him in there.
Yeah. Lockett, number 3, Moore, number 4, Jalen Naylor, number 5. I could get behind that. I'd be very excited with that wide receiving core. Supposedly the Raiders are interested as well. Makes sense. Pete Carroll reunion there. So Lockett kind of phased out last year in Seattle. I think he's still got a couple good years of football in him.
Yeah, absolutely. The only reason, if you look at his numbers, they go down because they started looking at DK Metcalf and then Jackson Smith and Jigba came in. There was just too many guys to get the ball to. So Lockett would be fantastic. Damn, would he be good? I want him. And it sounds like the Vikings have at least
they're
inquired.
And you could imagine, if Jordan Addison does get suspended for 3-4 games, having Tyler Lockett as your 2 and Rondale Moore as your 3 is actually it's a little bit of a relief than Rondale Moore, than maybe Jalen Naylor as 2 and 3.
And I think Conklin, the only reason he's out there, either his price tag, he wants to get paid, or he's just the type of guy that can kind of wait it out because teams want him. Mm-hmm. They want to sign him, and he's just playing it smart. So Tyler Conklin.
Lockett.
Tyler Lockett would be beautiful, which brings us to the next guy. Spoiler alert, Tyler Conklin. 29 years old, former Minnesota Viking, has spent the last 3 years with the Jets, has been a huge part of that Jets offense, has had 170 receptions for the Jets in the last 3 years, 7 touchdowns, pass catching demon, also a decent blocker.
You got to get the credit in this one. He was your boy coming out of, was it Western Michigan? Am I right? It was
Central Michigan.
It was some weird, obscure. You love this
guy.
That's
an up and coming. That's Central Michigan.
He was your boy from the start, and he's developed to a very good NFL player. So we already brought Eric Wilson home. Why not bring Tyler Conklin home to be wide receiver or tight end 3? Yeah, he'd definitely be tight end 3.
I would say technically 2.
Yeah,
Oliver is just out there blocking his dick off.
Yep. It would be a great. Could you imagine Hawkinson, Oliver, and Tyler Conklin as your 3 tight ends? That's a pretty nice little depth chart there when it comes to tight end.
Yeah, Conklin to come back full swing would be beautiful. I know he's taking visits. I know there's some interest out there. Price tag, very curious to see what somebody pays a 29-year-old tight end that is still performing, but would love it. Love it.
Yeah, I would too. It makes so much sense. Bring him home.
All right, let's go to a guy that we've talked about as a guy just waiting for after the draft, a team that misses out on a potential guard that needs a starter.
Yeah.
And they're just like, all right, we'll pay you a little bit more because missed out on the draft. And that's Brandon Scherf. And that's kind of the scenario the Vikings are in. Blake Brandel is currently the left guard.
Yep.
Will they look at a Gray Zabel? Will they look at a Booker? And if they miss out on those guys, maybe they call Brandon after the draft. Say, hey, we'll add another mill.
I'm going to put this beyond after the draft. I'm going to put this one into August. Let's say they go into camp and it's a battle between Rouse and Brandel, and they both suck. Right. And then you're we've seen them do this before. Dalton Reisner, right guard. They've done this before. So you're in maybe the second week of camp. Things aren't looking great left guard. Brandon Scherf still on out there waiting for a contract. Give him a call. You bring him in late. Look at last year. Stephon Gilmore was brought in mid-August to come in and be a cornerback boost to this defense. Why can't Brandon Scherf be the same thing? He's toward the end of his career. I think it's probably going to, if it does happen, it may be you wait till August and you bring him in.
Yeah, kind of like the Lockett. He can just kind of sit back because there will be teams that want him. So he can just be a little bit picky and see what happens, and the price tag will go up if somebody goes down. So Sheriff will be a name that we continue to bring up until either we address that left guard or he gets signed. Let's go to a guy we really haven't talked about. So middle linebacker, Cash Money was beautiful last year. Ivan Pace, a guy who can get after the quarterback, can do his thing. We signed Eric Wilson, but we don't have that kind of the Robin to the Batman as far as a guy on third downs that can be out there in pass coverage. If it's third and long, whatever, second and 15. And CJ Mosley, he's 32. But you know what? The guys we've signed on the defensive, like, age doesn't seem to be an issue if you can perform. So CJ Mosley, a guy who is very good in pass coverage if he's healthy.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If he's healthy, herniated disc in his neck, that scares off a lot of teams. That's horrifying. It's one of those injuries that kind of just stays with you. Maybe it gets better, but never goes away. And that's the biggest concern with CJ Mosley is that herniated disc. But yeah, I mean, he can cover. He's been so damn good for his long career in the NFL, and pairing him with Blake Cashman, having those two out there, and then putting Evan Pace to more of a gadget role where he probably belongs. Makes a lot of sense.
It'd be a mix. I mean,
he'll
get
Mosley,
in there. Pace, like it would just be a complete mix of what's going on. Mosley says he still wants to play. I mean, a lot of guys at that age still say they want to play. Like, I'm not looking at Mosley as far as like, hey man, you need to run this defense. Just you know, it's a very cost-effective contract, and you come out and do your thing. But like he's like, we're not putting everything on CJ Mosley.
No. We wouldn't have. I mean, he's got a herniated disc in his neck. That's horrifying.
We need a stopgap until we figure out until we figure out a Robin.
100%. Who's next? Who's next on this list?
Next up, we'll make this one quick because he's a guy that we just like. I want the Vikings to bring back, but technically he is a free agent. And that's Jihad Ward. Hottie, why haven't they brought him back? He's cheap and he was good. And at this point, for the guys we've signed, like the depth he would add would be beautiful.
I mean, he probably doesn't have a hot market. He's Hottie Ward.
Maybe this market needs to realize that Hottie Ward is available.
Yeah, I mean, and also you mentioned he was depth and he was good. He was also like apparently like a great locker room guy. Everybody loved this guy. He was hilarious.
I love
him. Yeah, and when he was out there, he did great. And Patrick Jones left. What do you have behind?
Damn you, Patrick.
Behind Turner, Gink, and Grenard? You got some young guys, Gabe Murphy, you got the Richter scale, the Richter, the Riction, as I like to call him. So you got some unproven guys. So why not bring Hottie Ward back for some depth? A guy who can be put in a spot, can produce. What do you have, 4 sacks last year?
I don't know, per game. But the other thing with Ward is like he can go right up on the line. Like it's not like he's just an edge rusher. He can play up on the defensive line. He can play anywhere, and he gives you options. Brian Flores loves that type of shit. So something, I don't know what happened here, but this just seemed like such a gimme to re-sign him for how cheap he is and the options he gives you on defense. So I would love to, like, at this point, I'm just thinking, like, I don't think they want him back. I want him back.
He could be a next week signing. He could be a April signing. He could be a freaking May signing. I don't think there's
March
a hurry.
21st signing.
I don't think he needs to be.
All right. Yeah, he was around there for quite a while. Last guy we got is a guy we talked about a lot is Asante Samuel. Yeah. He's not getting much run. It's weird. Like the only visit I've seen is the Cardinals last week, and they didn't sign him. So is his price tag too high? What's going on here?
He had an injury too, did he not? I believe he's coming back from something. Yeah, he had a season-ending shoulder injury in week 4. So we've signed a lot of guys who've had injuries early in the season.
Fits the mold.
That's what we do. So maybe there's some question mark about how he's feeling. But the dude, so I mean, I know he's not the biggest guy out there, but he comes from great lineage. He knows the I mean, he knows how to play defense. He's been pretty much bred that since he was a young boy. And he's feisty. He's electric. And I would love to bring this guy in. He's out there, and there's probably a reason why he's out there.
Well, he's still very young, and when he's healthy, he is very good. So we'll see what happens there. But for some reason, nobody is signing this guy, and maybe it gets to the point where he's like, "Screw it! I just want to go somewhere where I know I'm going to get better." And that's the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, with Brian Flores teaching him.
So that is our list. Let us know in the comments if there's any best available free agent targets that you would love to see the Vikings sign. We'll be keeping tabs on this for the upcoming weeks. Hottie Ward, come on home. Let's go.
Remember this. It is possible to hypnotize a frog by placing it on its back and gently stroking its belly. You can also hypnotize a Lupagus the same way.
Sounds like the frog is